What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 39 of the Roots of Success podcast. I am your host, Nate the Great Peterman, coming at you. And today we have a very special guest. I actually got connected with him about a couple weeks ago by a good old brother of mine, Errol Ertzman, connected us. Definitely
Hey,
super
yeah,
grateful for that.
yeah.
Ben, what's going on, brother?
Dude, life's good. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing amazing, man. I'm glad we could definitely make this work.
Yeah, dude, I'm happy. Like when you reached out, I'm just like, and I'm always down to, chat it up about whatever. Like I'm a,
Right.
I'm a people person, so let's go.
No, I feel it, man. Yeah. So for those of the audience and the listeners of the viewers, they might be wondering, who's Finn? Give me a little bit of a background. I'll read a little bit, about Finn and who he is and what he does. So Finn Thormeier is 22 years old, born and raised in Bremen, Germany. Finn dropped out of college last year, started documenting his journey on social media, moved to New York City for 6 months. They now, denied his visa. We'll talk about that, I'm sure. Started freelancing, started freelancing and helping people build and grow their personal brand on Instagram and LinkedIn. Now Finn does growth consulting for startups and recently started a LinkedIn personal branding agency where they help startup founders build their brand on LinkedIn through content, strategy, and growth. So I know there's lots to cover, Finn, on this episode. And again, I'm super grateful for you to be on here, especially in Germany. I mean, you're 6 hours ahead. It's like 8 o'clock over there.
Yeah, it's 8 p.m. right now. Still
Man,
good. Still
heck,
usual working time.
no, I feel you, man. The grind never stops, right? But
Yeah.
but yeah, man, I would love for you to sort of open up more. So I guess on a
Yep.
deeper level about, just your story, where you come from. I know you're, 22 years old. We can definitely relate a lot, you and I. So sort of open up a little bit more about your background and where you come from.
Sure. So, I mean, for I would say 21 years of my life, I lived like, the regular standard life. I'm in a small suburban town in Germany. Not much fucking going on here. It's pretty boring. Um, Went to school, then went on to go to high school, to college, I mean, because obviously, that's what you do when you finish high school, you go to college. Didn't really know what I was going to study, so it just chose my two favorite subjects, which were physics and philosophy. Did that for 1.5 years, and then I think what kind of creeped in. So my trajectory was, finishing college, get a 9 to 5, marry kids, da 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 da, the drill. Um, I started to listen to some self-development, some growth stuff, some podcasts while in college, and then last year I realized that college is just not what I want to do, and I just realized that there are other opportunities and other possibilities. Like I didn't see that before. Before that, it was just like college. Like there's no other way. So I stopped. I didn't have a single clue of what I'm going to do. So I thought, let me just document, not having a single clue. So I started doing social media. I started posting like random shit on YouTube and Instagram, just my life, saying like, I don't know what I'm doing, you know. Um,
Yeah.
I worked as a fundraiser for charity, traveled all over Germany, met a lot of people that kind of, got me to learn a lot of like the soft skills that help me now, after that, because I was very introverted. I was not at all outgoing. I was spending my time playing video games, watching YouTube, all of that stuff, like not being like a piece of shit to society, like not
Right.
doing anything with my life. And so, yeah, worked as a fundraiser. Then 8 months ago, I guess, I decided that, being in my small town in Germany and living with my parents and doing my social media stuff and being like the weird kid in town because like no one else is doing it, I needed to get out. And I always thought about, going to a big city and going to New York. Like New York was just like in my mind the place.
Yeah.
And I think for many people it is like, that place where you chase your dreams. Um, and so I just went back home, booked a flight to New York 5 days later. Went to New York, had my flight back a week later, which I never ended up taking. Stayed for like 6 months and just, met people there, did my thing, social media. Eventually, people liked what I was doing on social media, and they said they would pay me to, help them do it too. And I was completely baffled that anyone would ever want to do that. So I did that. Um, and yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm building upon right now. Like I'm doing Instagram, doing YouTube, doing LinkedIn, doing consulting now, helping other people grow and helping them um, through Facebook ads. And then LinkedIn is just like a fascinating platform to me. And now I started an agency 3 months ago where we literally take startup founders, that's who we're targeting right now, and from scratch build their personal brand on LinkedIn, and make them LinkedIn influencers. At least that's the goal. Yeah. Then I tried to go back to New York. They denied my visa, and that's where I'm at right now.
Man, why'd they deny your visa?
Dude, so when you come from Europe, you get an ESTA, which is like, it's not a visa, it's like a travel permit.
Okay.
And that's usually what you get if you go to New York for like a week of sightseeing. The
Interesting.
maximum length you can use is 3 months. So I used the full length. Then I went back to Germany for like 10 days and did the whole thing again, went for another 3 months.
Wow.
And then I was like, yeah, well, if I want to go back, I might as well get a visa, So I applied for B1 visa, which is a non-immigrant visa. It's pretty much the lowest tier visa you can get. And
Wow.
so you have your interview, and they ask you, how long do you plan on staying? And so I was honest. I said, like, I don't know yet, like anywhere between 3 to 6 months, because with a B1 visa, the maximum length is 6 months.
Mm.
And so it was actually funny, dude. It was the funniest thing ever. So I have that interview, right? And it's an American who interviews you. And he asked me these questions, when have I been in the US before and how long? And he's like, oh, okay, you've been here 3 months. Okay. How long you been in between? Oh, 10 days. Okay. And then for another 3 months. Okay. And how long you plan on staying now? 6 months. Oh, okay. And then while he asked me this question, he has my passport in his hand. And I just see his hand shaking. And I'm like, wait a second, did this guy like shake when we started? And I was like, I don't think so. And then that's when it dawned on me. I'm like, oh, he's going to give me the bad news now. And he doesn't want to give me the bad news. And so he's like very diplomatic. He's like, okay, Finn, here's what we're going to do. I can't let you in right now, but you can reapply anytime. You can come back sometimes. So the reason is basically, if they would have let me in for another 6 months, I would have spent 95% of my year on American soil, which is just not what a non-immigrant visa is. Either I spend more time in Germany and Europe and then come back, or I apply immediately for an immigration visa.
So it's kind of against like the regulations and everything.
Yeah. Dude, and actually, so that's at the embassy, right? And so I get the denial. And when he gave me the news, my first gut reaction was just like, oh, okay, now let me show you. It's like a punch in the face. And so I walk out of the embassy with literally the biggest smile on my face and like a grin. And like all the people standing in line for the interview, they look at me and they're like, oh, nice, he got his visa. They're like, woo, good for you. And I'm like, nah. And they just denied me. But yeah.
Dude, that's insane. Oh my goodness. And I couldn't imagine, I mean, definitely, once you, obviously, I'm sure, once you got denied, I'm sure you just had that thing in the back of your mind where you're like, all right, I'm coming back here. I'm going to show you what's
Yeah.
up,
Yeah. No, that was exactly it. It was so funny.
Dude, that's crazy. I find it intriguing, Finn, just with how you're explaining your story. It honestly felt like you're kind of talking about my story in a way too, because I honestly say I'm the same way. Like I grew up very introverted,
Yeah.
same environment, kind of small town, small city. I was big into like gaming and watching the YouTube videos and just different vloggers like Roman
Nice.
Atwood, Vitaly and all those
Oh,
guys
yeah.
and Prank versus Prank. And it's crazy, man, because I look at, and this is a very, very intimate topic to me because introverts, extroverts, personality types, we both understand how important it is
Yeah.
whenever it comes to talking to individuals and realizing and understanding, which and who they are as a person. So
Yeah.
for you, I guess, like, you went to New York City.
Yeah.
you're you're naturally introverted, right?
Yeah.
How do you shape or how do you mold it to such a city that is really extroverted in that environment? You know what I mean?
I think it's twofold. I think the first what drove me is realizing like I don't have another choice, right? Like I came to New York literally knowing no one.
Yeah.
And I knew that, to do what I wanted to do, like I need to meet people. And so, I could have just stayed in my comfort zone and just, hang out in New York. Or so literally what I did the first 2 months I was there, I didn't had work to do and I was living off of savings. I went to 1 to 3 meetups every single day. I went on meetup.com, I went on Facebook, and I just searched for meetups as big as possible, free obviously, and then I went there. I didn't care like what it was about, whether it was like professional networking, like a YouTuber Instagram meetup, like fucking yoga in the park. Actually never did that. I should have though. And I just went there to meet people, and I only cared because I didn't have anything to sell, right? So that helped, I think. I literally only cared about like meeting my new best friend. Like every time I went, I'm just like, could this be my next best friend? Could this be my next best friend? And so I just met people. And so the first thing is just like realizing that people are just potential. And so you can either, stay in your comfort zone or you get after it. And then the other thing is, just meeting the right people. Like even introverts are extroverted with their best friends.
Mm.
So if you realize that, you realize that you don't necessarily have to focus on shit, how can I with all these strangers like be more extroverted? You just got to figure out how can I make these people my best friends, or how can I focus more on like meeting people that I feel like I can become friends with.
Hmm. Man, that's deep. Now that's a different perspective to look at it too, because I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of people, I mean, especially if you're in business, I feel like a lot of people they just look at other individuals and they always look at, how can I sell them on my product? How can I sell them on my service? And it's funny, I just uploaded an Instagram video to my Instagram page just saying about like you always got to provide value first. Like what
Yeah.
can you do to help somebody? Like
Yeah.
your product, I mean, is great. Your business might be great, but obviously, why should I buy for you? But what kind of value am I going to get out of it?
Yeah.
So no, I think that's really unique in the way that you approach that because I mean, you made the risk. I mean, going not just from not just from like Germany to England. I mean, you went from Germany to a completely different, to the United States, to New York City, one of the busiest cities in the world.
Yeah.
And that's intriguing to me because with somebody like myself, and I'm sure a lot of other viewers and listeners watching this and listening to this, they are introverted and they're looking to
Yeah.
make that breakthrough. And of
Yeah.
course, like you said, sort of looking at somebody as how can I make that new best friend today
Yeah.
definitely shifts that perspective a lot. So let's say, go ahead.
I mean, for me, like these networking events, right? Like they still exhaust me. Like if I go to a networking event, after that, I'm just like, fuck, that was so draining. Except here's my trick that I try to do, and it kind of plays into that. I feel like the reason why it's so stressful often is because you feel like there are 100 other people. You don't know any of the 100 other people. So you don't know who of these 100 people is like whatever you want to focus on, the person you like the most or the people who can buy from you. Who is the person of these 100 people you should be talking to? And so constantly you're in this mode, you're talking to this person, but at the same time in your head you're just like, fuck, should I speak of any with these other 99 people right now?
Yeah.
Like, is this person like giving me what I want? But if you literally try to find, you focus on not what you can get out of it, but just like finding people that you vibe with and zoning in on that person. Like I feel like I would rather have 1 2 hour conversation with one person than shaking a hand with all of the 100 people. And that's what everyone tries to do. They want to shake hands and exchange fucking business cards with every one of these 100 people. Just find one person you vibe with, you feel that first natural like connection, and then just, have that long conversation.
No, that's really great advice. I'm literally I'm literally the same exact way because, like you said, I mean, people do try to focus on being the one at the
Yeah.
event, at the show, at the party,
Yeah.
just,
Yeah. The show.
navigating all
Yeah.
around and
Yeah.
exactly. And it's like just to both of our personality types. I mean, I feel as if we operate a lot better just connecting on that deeper level. And of
Yeah.
course, you can feel that vibe, you can feel that, frequency and their energy within like honestly 5 to 10 seconds, right when you meet them. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
let's say, Finn, if you feel they're not a match, what then do you do?
Well, you then it's not a match on both sides. You just, find a spot and you just like, you know, I'm so bad at that. I'm just like, damn it, damn it, damn it. I'm just like, oh, gotta go to the toilet. And then you go to the toilet and then you obviously find a different person to talk to. I don't know, it's still weird, but you just find something.
Yeah, you go to the bathroom, you're there sitting on the stall. Hey, buddy, how you
Yeah.
doing?
Oh, I'm getting a call.
No, man, that's funny. Yeah, we definitely relate a lot there, to say the
Yeah.
least. And um,
By the
I
way,
get,
I also think it's the best play. Like even let's say you go to an event and you go there because you want to find clients.
yeah,
Even then, I think it's the best play because if you just exchange business cards with all of these people, like they don't have a reason why they should like get go to you for that service. Like you're just like a random person who just handed you their business cards. Like there's no connection. But if you just meet one person and you become best friends, even if that person isn't a direct client, like they're going to be invested in you and they probably know someone who is interested in your services and they're happy to do the intro because it's mutual, you like each other. So it's even the better play, even if you go in there to get something out of it.
referral marketing. It's a
Yeah.
powerful tool.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that absolutely. I couldn't agree anymore. Let me ask you this, Finn. Um, the business cards, in your opinion, do they still
I
work?
hate
They
it. I
still a
don't have
thing?
any.
I got you.
I feel like if you don't have the time for literally 30 seconds to exchange phone numbers with a person, they're not a connection worth connecting to anyway.
That's
Like
deep.
take out your phone, put in your contacts, I always add their face. Like I always give them my phone, have them enter their contact, and then also add a photo. Because otherwise, like I'm so bad with names, but I'm good with faces.
Uh, nah, for sure. What if there was do you have any other creative ways? Let's say somebody has, they're so used to handing out business cards, it's cool to get their phone number, but maybe there's another creative way that you might have in mind that they could potentially, leave a lasting impression and leave their mark on that individual. I'm not sure if you know of any other ways.
No, I don't know. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not,
I got you.
I've, you can do some fancy stuff, but I feel like you wanna have that conversation that leaves the mark.
Mm, for sure. Absolutely. I know a group of individuals I tend to talk with a good bit. It seems as if the new business card is having a book.
A book? Like
Yeah.
you're just handing out books?
I mean, not just to everybody, but where you have a genuine conversation with somebody,
Mm,
and let's say you just have, I don't know, a backpack or just something with you. You're not carrying a bundle of books
yeah,
around with you, in a
yeah,
satchel or something, but where you have such a deep conversation. And if you really want to get involved in their lives or within their business or, networking up,
yeah,
possibly if you wrote a book, giving them, of course, it might only be a 50-page, nothing that's 300 pages, just something simple. I've definitely heard a lot of things on just giving somebody a book, because then they can't just, okay, let me just toss it in the trash can.
yeah.
They got to put it up on their bookshelf and they're always going to have that. You know what
True.
I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I guess.
It's a thought. I've seen some people definitely utilize that for sure. So let's transition a little bit, into LinkedIn. I know I have a very millennial based audience that listens to the podcast, and of
Yeah,
course, with you being super passionate about LinkedIn, and of
yeah,
course, Instagram is my thing. I can preach Instagram all day, every day.
yeah,
But for somebody that is, I like to call, an expert on LinkedIn and is very knowledgeable with that, why exactly should the millennial generation or just anybody that's listening, why
yeah.
should they be using LinkedIn, and what are some um, strategy or effective steps that they can implement to actually get it going?
Um, I mean, I wouldn't call myself a LinkedIn expert. I just started putting out content early on, and That's just massive potential right now on LinkedIn. Like you guys are just missing out if you're not on there. Like if you want to build a personal brand, then like at least think about like LinkedIn very, very seriously. And here's why. Because I think most people still think about LinkedIn as an online CV, right? That's where you put your work experience. I worked here, here, here. That's the platform people use to either find a job or find an employee. That's not the case anymore, because last year LinkedIn was acquired by Microsoft, and in September last year, so pretty much exactly a year ago, they introduced native video. So before that you couldn't post videos on LinkedIn. You now can. And that means LinkedIn is not just like a stale online CV. It's now content platform, just as Facebook is, just as Instagram is, just as anything else. And the very interesting thing that happened, because they introduced this so late, LinkedIn exists since I think, I don't know, 2003, 4, something around that thing. It has 500 million users. 500 million people are using LinkedIn.
It's insane.
But it's an old platform, but it just introduced video, which means it's the whole like supply and demand thing. There are 500 million people ready to consume content, but because it's new, only a small portion of that, like less than 1%, is actually posting shit. Like if you go on Instagram, for example, Instagram, I don't know, has like 800 million, a billion users, so it has more users. But if you think about it, like pretty much every person who is on Instagram is also posting on Instagram. Maybe not on a daily basis, you know, maybe not like 3 times a day like Gary Vee or whatever, but they're posting stuff. Like they have stuff on their feed, which means like the feed is just so cramped. On LinkedIn, like just by posting a video, you're just standing out.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is just because it's new, LinkedIn obviously wants to incentivize people on using video, so the algorithm pushes it. Like I'm guaranteeing you, like I haven't seen first LinkedIn video, so like a video where one announces that they're, you know, starting posting on LinkedIn, no matter how many followers you have, gets at least 1,000 views. Like think about it. Like you literally can have like 50 connections and you get 1,000 views on your video. And like that's just attention, right? Like that's just how personal branding works. Like that's just attention. Like you can do whatever the fuck you want with it. Like you can talk about business, you can talk about your personal life, you can talk about politics, you can talk about your passions, and you know, do whatever you want with it. But there are like loads of eyeballs on there, and believe me, like especially like there are quality eyeballs on LinkedIn and eyeballs that have loads of money. So if you're looking to, you know, acquire clients or whatever, like there's no better place than LinkedIn right now.
Wow. No, I totally agree. I mean, I just started taking LinkedIn serious about 3 months ago or something like that. And, you know, I totally agree. I mean, I have, I think, just over 5,000 connections, but I think the way I did it is I just like added people, you know, like way back when I wasn't too knowledgeable on the entire platform.
Yeah.
But no, for sure. Like whenever I posted that video, I got like a few thousand views off of that.
Yeah.
And I was impressed because it wasn't anything special. I mean, I see people putting videos up, looks like they're in their basement, looks like they're in a haunted house. And I mean, they're getting thousands of views.
Yeah.
So
like the bar is very low on LinkedIn right now.
Yeah. And I like how you said about the algorithm as well, because I mean, the problem with Instagram, like you said, I mean, you log on and, you know, you open the app and I mean, I can't even sort out my homies compared to just, you know, other people I'm not super close with.
Yeah.
And same with Facebook. I mean, Facebook, that's another platform. It's like Facebook's really on all advertising for you to
Facebook's dead. Like who's using that? Like I'm not using it. I'm like using it for the group sometimes.
No, for sure. So like I'm curious, Finn, for you, you know, what demographic, or maybe it's everybody. What demographic would you say has the most potential, just based off of what you've seen on what's been working with like the big hits that can really make a skyrocket on LinkedIn? Which brands or niches or niches, however you know you say it, would you say really has a lot of potential to make a big impact? Maybe it's everybody.
You mean to what niche, like posting video on content on LinkedIn has an impact to help them?
Yep.
Anyone.
Anyone?
Like, yeah. I mean, entrepreneurship, like
Okay.
that's just, I think that's like kind of why it works so well right now, because the people with the entrepreneurial mindset are also the first ones, to adopt video and try it out and see if they can build a personal brand. And because like LinkedIn is so like business and corporate, like probably like 90 to 95% of those people on LinkedIn are working corporate America, or are employees and are thinking about entrepreneurship. And so they're just like, give me all that content, I want to be that, I want to start my own business. They're all playing with that thought. Like literally every video where a person announces they just quit their corporate job to start their own thing and build their first business or go into entrepreneurship goes viral, like pretty
Wow.
much guaranteed, like a couple of 10,000 views, like easy, because people are just like, oh my God, I want to do that.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's insane. No, I didn't even realize that. I'll have to check out some of those videos because, man, I mean, shoot, I might just say, hey, I got a job yesterday and just quit today. Yeah,
Just quit
I'll,
it
sky-
again.
I'll skyrocket some views. You
Like weekly content basis. Got another job. Wasn't it? Going back to entrepreneurship.
I mean, same with college. Hey, guys, I just quit college. I'm pursuing my dreams,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Dude,
No,
that's
you should try that out. Like literally every week. Like, got a new job. Nope. Quit it
right.
again.
I think I'll test that out. So let's say I'm in college, right? Like on a,
Yeah.
on a legit level. Let's say I'm in college and I'm actually going to school for. That's so funny. Just that whole what we just talked about. But let's say I'm in school and I'm looking to actually take the content game to a next level, but I just
Yeah.
don't know where to start. What do you recommend in terms of like different types of content? Different types of content. Like what do you
Yeah.
recommend and where I start? Like,
Um,
yeah.
like I don't know, just start. Like that's just
Okay.
the biggest thing. Like literally just take a phone and talk about anything, whatever, just so you get in the mindset of posting something. But to get more specific, videos definitely overperform in terms of engagement and in terms of like actually driving action. But you want to combine it with all forms of medium. So like on Facebook, you can post just written status updates and you can post image posts with a caption, or videos. You definitely want to prefer videos right now because, as I said, it gets preferred by the algorithm, but kind of play it all into. And then do whatever, however much you can handle. Like you can do one video a week, do two videos a week if you can, or three videos a week. I actually think it's better with the how the algorithm works right now to not post daily, even if you could.
Hmm.
I like right now 2 to 3 videos. I feel like 3 videos is like the optimal you can do right now.
A
And
week?
then a week, yeah.
Okay.
And then make the videos like anywhere between 1 to 3 minutes long, kind of in that direction. Just make camera to face, like don't try to get fancy. Like it's actually gonna perform worse. Like my most highly edited videos just perform bad because
Huh.
people want to see real people, real stuff. They want to hear real stories. They don't want to see a vlog. Like they don't want to see your fucking b-roll and drone shots and color graded stuff. Like they just don't want to see that. So camera to face, 1 to 3 minute videos, talk about one topic, um, mostly storytelling.
Mm.
So the videos of like, here are my 3 marketing tips, or here's my 2 tips on how to get more leads. Those videos don't perform so well. The videos that perform best are a story that happened to you, showing vulnerability, and then having a lesson at the end. So something like, um, I just dropped out of college. I'm fucking scared. I don't know exactly what I'm doing. My parents are giving me pushback, but I feel like this is what I want to do, and I'm taking the risk. And here's why,
Mm.
for example. Or, damn, we just lost a client. That fucking sucked. But here's how I'm handling this situation. Just like a personal story that is business related, something around that thing, vulnerability, and then a lesson at the end. Like, here's how I handle it. Here's what I'm gonna do better. Here's how you can handle it, kind of like that.
No, I agree. And I like how you said, I mean, you don't have to have a super professional camera. I
No,
mean, I mean, I
I still do everything with my phone.
yeah, right. I mean, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Like, you just get up there and just say, "Hey, what's up, guys? Finn
yep,
here." just
Yeah.
something like that. And I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of people, and I could talk about this all day, like perfectionism. I feel like a lot of people, they feel like it has to be perfect to
Yeah,
start.
no. Yeah, that's an excuse, dude. Like fucking people who tell like perfectionism, like, I'm just fucking perfectionist. No, you're insecure,
Yeah,
you know? Like, just post it. Like, no one even cares.
straight up, just like
Yeah,
Nike, just do it. You feel me?
just do it. That's actually it.
That's how you do it. Let me ask you this, Ben. I'm curious. How did your parents react whenever you said that you were dropping out of college?
Um, they weren't happy. Um, and they I think both all my parents and my friends, they were like, okay, he has his face, let him figure it out a bit, and then in like 1, 2, 3 months he's gonna go back to college, maybe study something else, maybe study somewhere else. But obviously he's gonna go back to college because, well, you can't do anything except college, right? Like there's no other option. um, and it's pretty hard to prove a point to your parents if, like, literally in the first 6 months of you doing your thing, only your friends and family are following you on Instagram.
Mm,
You have like 200, 300, 400 followers. It's pretty hard to prove a point at that stage. You just got to believe in yourself.
oh yeah.
But I think the biggest part is that realizing that your parents want your best for you and want you to be happy. At least that's how it should be, and that's how it is, like 95 or 99% of the time. And
Yeah.
the reason why they're unhappy with you dropping out of college is because they think, from their perspective, it's going to make you miserable. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you drop out of college, you're not going to get a good job, and then obviously you're going to land on the streets. That's what's going to happen. So they don't want that to happen. But you just got to believe in yourself, and then prove them first that what you're doing now is actually going to make you more happy, because that's what they care about. And I think me documenting literally everything I do on Instagram on a daily basis, and my mom using Instagram, like, she saw what I was doing, like not only what I was talking about and what I wanted to do. Like, she saw being in New York and meeting all these people, pushing my comfort zone. She saw when I started a business, and money was coming in, and she saw just that I was more happy.
Hmm.
And now they're supportive. Like, they want me to do what I'm doing. They're still not getting it,
Right.
what I'm doing exactly, but they're just like, somehow it's working out for him.
No, I think I'm glad you covered that, because again, that just doesn't go for, school. I mean, that goes for, working,
Yeah.
corporate job. I mean, some people are just like, man, when should I quit? And I guess that's something else to look at as well. Like, I'm not saying like for you to give somebody an approval on when to quit, but when did you realize that in Finn's world that I needed to make the decision to drop out, or I needed to make the decision and it was time?
um I feel like, and that's, I don't think in those terms, because I don't think, like, people tell me like, you're so courageous for dropping out of college, or for flying to New York without anyone. I'm just like, if it didn't work out, I'd just go back. If I can drop out of college and try it out for like 1, 2, 3 months, and if it doesn't work out, well, I'll go back to college. Or if I fly to New York, and it doesn't work out, well, I fly back to Germany. Like, okay, I lost like maybe $1,000 on like flights and staying there for a bit, but then again, it's a nice experience, so it's a win anyway. But like, people think too much in like absolutes. Like, just try it out. If it doesn't work out, it's not a decision for life to drop out of college.
Mm.
You go back if it doesn't work out.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. I mean, it's not like, like you said, if you drop out, life's over.
Yeah.
I mean, you're pursuing what you love, and you're passionate about it. And I mean, even myself, that's so funny, man. I swear we literally have somewhat of the same story. I mean, I didn't go to college though, but I've worked about 6, 7 jobs, anywhere from fast food to selling cars. And I was like, you know what? I'm making the decision to never work a corporate job in my life. And that's when I quit and started, flipping some things. I mean, times got tough, right? I was fortunate enough to have, a family. And I mean, it didn't really understand what I was doing at the time, but they still supported me. And just like you, I mean, they might not quite get and understand our
Yeah.
lives and exactly what it is that we do. I mean, I still sometimes my grandparents are like, "So Nate, how's the
Dude.
how's the business going?" I'm just like, "Oh, it's going great, and grandma, it's going great, grandpa." And they ask me every single time, but it's like a vibration where I know it's not like positive, it's not
Yeah.
negative, but they're just
No, it's just like they don't get it. They're
they're
just like asking
unsure.
me what I do, and I'm just like explaining that. She's like, okay, that's cool, cool.
Right.
So, but what do you actually want to do? Because that's obviously not a real thing, right? Like the whole internet stuff, like, that's not a real job.
Right. That's what I mean, they didn't have it around back then,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So I don't blame them. I don't blame them for,
No,
and
I
for
mean,
those, yeah, I mean, even for those that are listening and viewing, I mean, they might be going through a similar situation where they're an entrepreneur, they,
yeah,
they have their own business and they're struggling with having their family and their parents or even their spouses trying to cope with the lifestyle that they're trying to
yeah,
create for their family, right? Because sometimes, man, sometimes I'm just like, yo, like they might not understand, but in 5 or 10 years from now, it's all gonna make sense.
oh yeah,
You know what I mean? It's
it's
that
gonna be so
legacy.
much fun.
I'm telling
Yeah,
you, like whenever you can just say, all right, mom, all right, dad, all right, sis, brother, we're gonna be going to the Bahamas, all right, for about a week. What? Yeah, yeah, all that hard work, yeah, it's paying off now.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? So nah, man, it's definitely
Or I realize I'm just a talker, you know? It's gonna be funny either way. I'm just like, damn, Finn, you've been really good at like bullshitting yourself.
yeah,
I'm favoring myself right now, but you never know. It results just speak, It's just
yeah,
gonna play out the way it's supposed to play out.
yeah, absolutely. Execution is worshipped.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Finn. Of course, I have a lot of U.S. Listeners and viewers. How
These
different?
motherfuckers all staying in that country. So jealous right now.
You think they should get out and explore?
No, like I mean, maybe. I don't want to tell them what to do. I'm just like jealous because they can stay there and I can't because I don't have a visa.
No, I got you. That whole situation,
If anyone wants to trade, let me know.
right? We'll take exceptions. So how is business? Because I was in Germany as well as Sweden,
Yeah.
literally about this time last year, to be honest with you. And I personally just saw a big difference in business and how it was ran. How different is business done and sort of proceeded over in like Europe, for example, compared to over in the United States, just with your time actually being in the States? You know what I mean?
Um, I don't know if I can tell just because from the fact that pretty much all my business experience only happened in the US. Like when I went to New York, I literally had nothing going for me except like posting on Instagram and YouTube a little bit, and having my fun on there. And now I'm just back here for 2 months, but have been half of that time I've been in South Africa. And right now I'm back in my parents' house, so there's literally like no business going on here. I definitely can tell that Germany and Europe in general is behind in terms of like social media. Like it's slowly catching up. Like obviously in New York it's like very progressive, but like every coffee shop has an Instagram account in New York,
Yeah,
you know. And here it's just like, why would a business have an Instagram account, you know?
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean they're behind on the trend. I mean, I know for fashion they're ahead of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I look at that and just see the potential, just with what you just said. I mean, with being in a different country, and who knows? I mean, somebody that's listening, they could identify that and say, "Oh,
Yeah.
shoot, now that I realize a lot of these cafes, coffee shops, tea bars, they don't have Instagrams.
Yeah.
Maybe it's an opportunity for if I have an agency or a marketing company for me to go over there,
Yeah.
learn a different language. Because I remember whenever I was in Germany, I mean, I went into a I went into a doggone Burger King. I spoke some English. It's like,
Ja,
and
wir Deutschen sprechen irgendwie so bisschen komische Sachen.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's I was hey, how you doing? you know, like they just didn't know
Yeah.
what to expect. And you said, when I know we talked, prior as well. So Germans, they don't like to just speak English, do they?
No, I mean if you're in Berlin, like it's very open-minded, but otherwise like Germans are very closed in. Like if you try to, and coming back from New York, right, it's the complete opposite. Like you have, you have like conversations on the subway, like
Yeah.
that's what happens. If you try to go in Germany and you just talk to the person next to you on the bus or train, they're just going to stare at you.
Oh yeah.
They're just like, what just happened? Dude, we don't know each other. Why are you talking to me?
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. Germans are sometimes very weird.
Yeah. I'm
I
sometimes
mean, I'm
scared.
one of them.
No, I feel you. I mean, I'm sometimes scared to sneeze sometimes because I just you just never know. I mean, you might think you're trying to pick a fight with somebody and you sneeze and they're just like they're looking at you all different ways. And I know that happened to me a couple of times. I coughed and I sneezed and I thought I was about to go to prison.
Oh,
But no,
yeah,
it's funny just the different cultures and how they operate,
yeah.
especially within the business life. And I mean, I highly recommend people to travel, especially to like a
Oh, yeah.
country that doesn't necessarily speak the language. Because I mean, for us in America, I mean, it's real easy to travel
Yeah,
to Canada, and I mean, the currency is just different and the way they operate is a little bit different. But I
yeah,
highly recommend going to like China, going to
yeah,
I mean, Russia, that's a big step to say the least. But I mean, just going to a different country and for sure learning
yeah.
about other cultures. And I feel like you can definitely do like a lot of trends and see what's going on in those countries and
Yeah,
potentially
and
bring
I
them
mean,
back.
I see it kind of as a personal growth accelerator.
Yeah.
Like I realized I needed to get out of my parents' house because you're just like in a certain mindset and you just can't help yourself but becoming complacent if your mom does your laundry and your mom cooks for you and it's a nice life, but you got to figure shit out on your own. And if you go to a different country, you're on your own. You have to figure shit out.
Mhm.
And just the process of doing that and learning that you can trust yourself with like situations that you don't have an answer to right away, but you can figure it out. Like that's for me like the biggest skill that you can have, like being able to figure it out.
Mm, that's deep. Because again, I mean, mommy and daddy, they're not always there by your side,
Yeah,
especially when you travel.
yeah,
And of course, social media, I mean, it might not even always be up to date with that. I mean,
yeah,
I look at my parents. I mean, my mother, she has a Facebook. That's it. My dad, he has no social media whatsoever.
yeah,
Like the only form of communication is through that text message, is through that phone call.
yeah,
And it's like they're not keeping up to you. You're on your own. I mean, myself, and I'm sure you're the same way, Finn. Maybe, um, being introverted, I kind of found it a little bit hard to just travel by myself. I always wanted to travel with somebody else because I got comfortable with having
yeah,
somebody that I knew
yeah,
always by my side.
yeah,
But then whenever I traveled by myself, I realized that I actually became more extroverted because you're
yeah.
challenging yourself, you're
You
getting
have to.
uncomfortable, and especially like going to a completely different country, you're just pushing yourself to the absolute limit to come out of your shell.
Yeah, dude. Have you heard of the saying, burning your boats? Yeah, I think
I
burning your
have.
boats.
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes from the conqueror Vasquez. Is that a
Okay.
conqueror's name? Vasquez?
I got you.
Vasquez?
Yeah,
No, no,
sounds
not
familiar.
Vasquez. I'm not sure. I'm probably butchering the name. It's probably not him. But like the guy who conquered Mexico,
Oh
I
yeah.
forgot his name. But he went to Mexico with 400 people, and they arrived at the shore, and they realized, fuck, this is actually way bigger than we thought. These are actually way more people than we thought. So what do? We only have like 400 people. And so the first order of the captain was to burn the boats.
Wow.
That doesn't change the fact that you're still, fighting the odds. But the one thing it changes is, well, now you can't go back. Like now you gotta figure it out. Like what now?
Yeah.
you know so putting yourself in a position where you burn your boats and like going to a different country, like it's just that, like you can't, even if if you figure out like, oh shit, it doesn't work out, like you still have to like book a flight back and wait, and it's not like you're back in your parents' house like the moment you're uncomfortable. You're just like, well, now I gotta figure it out.
Mm. No, absolutely. I mean, your confidence level just
Yeah.
raises a ton as well. I mean, I notice, again, I mean, with me being from a small town, I mean, we can definitely relate. It's like whenever you come back home, there's not a lot of networking opportunities.
Yeah.
I mean, it's dead. And
Yeah.
I mean, you can network with people, but they're just not on that same wavelength. They're not thinking big. I
Yeah.
mean, most people from my town, and I'm sure from yours as well, I mean, thinking about going to a completely different country just spur of the moment, just making it by, they think it'd be delusional. They wouldn't
Yeah.
really agree with that. They wouldn't think that it would be such a thing to actually go out and make an effort to travel to a different country, especially by themselves.
Yeah.
It feels of, okay, I need my husband to come with me. Got to have my babies. If my babies
Yeah.
aren't there, you feel me? I mean,
Yeah.
I got to find a babysitter, and it's like, okay, find a babysitter. Oh, I just don't know a good one. When you're making that excuse, not
Yeah.
actually go out and do it,
Yeah.
So it's just all those different things. And I know you and I both, we can definitely attest to that ourselves, just with traveling alone and then,
Yeah.
to a place that's very highly populated, where you have to talk to people, where you have to be extroverted, and then coming back, it can sometimes diminish it a little bit, you know?
Yeah. And I think traveling on your own, it takes away one of the paradoxes, I think, that me too, and I think a lot of people might be struggling with for personal growth. And it's that you personally realize that the person who you are right now is not the person who you have to be to achieve the things you want to achieve.
Mhm.
You realize like, damn, I have to get better. I have to be more outgoing. I have to, push my limits more. I have to grow into a better person. And you realize that on your own. But if you are surrounded by people who still know your old or your current self, you're constantly in this battle of, I know this is the person I have to be, but if I'm trying to be that right now, I'm inauthentic, because all of these people around me, my parents, my friends, they still know the old me. And so it's holding you back. But if you're traveling and you don't know anyone and no one knows you, it's like literally a reset, and it frees you up to say, okay, let me experiment with all of these new things, ideas I have about the person who I want to be and could become. And you're not held back by the idea that it's not authentic to who you are right now, which is just bullshit,
Mhm.
because you're just growing into better you. It's still you. It's just different. That's why it feels inauthentic. But yeah,
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, it makes you uncomfortable, and that's where sometimes, some of the biggest growth periods happen.
yeah,
And yeah, man, I mean, traveling, we could talk about that all day, especially like going alone and everything, and just a great
yeah,
thing to do. I mean, we're on, a beautiful planet called Earth, and it's like there's so many things, so many sights, so many views to go out and see. And it's funny. I mean, there's people that haven't even left like the town that I'm from, which is
dude.
insane.
Yeah, I just came back from South Africa. I was in Cape Town for like 3 weeks. It's just gorgeous. Like
Jeez.
it's beautiful, and the people are so like open and welcoming, and you know, just like taking you into their home and showing you around, and you know, yeah, it definitely is a cool thing.
Wow. No, absolutely, Finn. But yeah, man, definitely want to be, of course, respectful of your time. Appreciate you, of course, dropping some value on LinkedIn, and just like with traveling and just, your life story, man. I mean, I think a lot of people for sure, can relate to that. With my audience being a majority of the millennials and
Yeah.
college students and entrepreneurs. So, man, like, where can they follow you? Do you have social media? What do you have going on right now?
Um, it's just my name everywhere at Finn Thormeier, Finnthormeier. It's a long fucking name. I don't know what the Germans are doing. But yeah, I'm pretty much everywhere. My favorite platforms are it's so hard trying to rank them. Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Maybe LinkedIn before YouTube. I don't know. I like them all. But those are my three main things.
Perfect, man. Yeah, I'll put them in the link below. That way you guys can definitely, go click on it
Appreciate that.
and give Finn a follow. Finn, my man, I always have the guests sort of not just end it on a nugget of the day or like a tip, but more so an execution note. It can be something simple. Maybe we already covered it and you want to bring it back to light. What is that one thing that you just want to leave the audience and the viewers today to go out and actually do and execute?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, just that. Like,
Okay.
do it. Just post a video, try it out, look at what, people are doing there. And I guarantee you, your mind will be blown at how much engagement and how much like organic reach you will get.
That's incredible. Well, there you have it, guys. LinkedIn, go out, follow my man Finn. All right, reach out to him. I know he's got lots of knowledge, lots of tips. And of course, with what he's got going on, with his business, it can really be a big value for you starting out. So, hey, brother Finn, appreciate you as always, man.
Thank you, sir.